Hello, Monica here, and I'm going to go over a few things. Installing an app, duplicating an app, naming your app, both the tab label and the nickname, and then we'll go over some things on deleting an app or removing it from your page and some things you need to know about the best practices for doing that. So if it's your first time ever installing an app, you don't have a 22Social app installed on any business page, you will need to have a business page, a Facebook fan page or business page in order to install an app. But the very first time you do it, you're going to want to go to 22s.com/account, which will take you to your admin dashboard. You want to click on My Apps if you don't see it. You should default to My Apps just by going to 22s.com/account. You'll be on the account login tab of 22Social's page. Now, this admin dashboard here, you will see at the top of any of your apps. So if you already have an app, just go to that app and you'll see this. You don't need to go to 22Social's page. But if you don't have one, it's your very first time, then 22s.com/account will get you here. Regardless of whether you're doing 22s.com/account or visiting any of your own apps, you will see this admin dashboard here at the top. And what you want to look for is install another app. That is installing an app from scratch. You can also duplicate the current app you're on, which I'll show you a little later in this video. So you want to click on Install Another App to install your first app. Facebook's going to retrieve pages that you're an admin of, and it's going to bring up a list like this where you can choose the page you want to install it. Now, if you only have one business page, that will be listed here. If you have more than one, then you're going to select from a list that's in alphabetical order. Select the page that you want to install it on. I'm going to use one of my template pages right now and click on Install App. If you don't see the page listed here, you're either not an admin of the page, so you do need to be an admin, or you've already installed the maximum number of third-party apps on this page, which Facebook caps at 15. If you've already installed 15, the page that you want to add it to will not be on the list because it won't have any room on it. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the video when we talk about how to remove and delete apps and what could cause that as a potential problem in the future if you don't remove them, if you don't delete them completely. They do take up space, and again, Facebook's limit is 15. This is not at its max. I haven't added up 15 apps yet, so that's why I was able to select it, and now I'm going to click on Install App. It's going to automatically redirect me back to the page where I installed it on. Now, here's that dashboard I was talking about again. Here, you can click on My Apps to install another app if you want, and you'll see that green Install button. I'm going to close that out. Or you can duplicate an app, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So when you first install an app, it's just going to look like this. There's no styling or anything on it. We talk about that in another video, so this isn't going to go over styling. What I'm going to show you is an example of another app that I've already, I duplicated, which is the same process, but I want to show you what an app looks like so when you first install or you first duplicate an app. So when you first install a new app or duplicate a brand new app, it will show up as either Learn More or Get More Info over here on the left tab. You may need to click See More. This is your admin view, not the public view, so you'll have to click here to see more. And they'll usually be at the bottom. So here are some that I've already installed on one of my test pages. Get more info, ... and then learn more, learn more, learn more. So there are 4 installed here. They are listed here in the order that I installed them. And the way to change the name that it shows here is to go up to the top, click on Settings in this white bar up here, your settings bar for your page. You will only see this white bar below the blue bar when you are visiting a business page that you are an admin of. Tap on Settings. Under Settings, you'll see Edit Page over here on the left. Click on Edit Page and scroll down. These are all the tabs on your page, the ones that Facebook puts on and the ones that you add through third-party apps like 22Social. So they're all movable, so you can switch them around beyond the home. Home has to stay there, and that just takes you back out to the front end of your business page. And they can also be added or removed. The Facebook ones anyway. You can just go in here into settings and turn them on or off to add or remove them. You cannot add or remove to your 22Social tabs in the same way. You can, it's just not using that same method. And we'll cover that a little later in this video. But this is about naming them. So here are the 4 that I installed. And again, they're listed here in the same order that they are on the front. So if I move this up here, it automatically will save. Let me just go back out real quick. They'll show up here in that same order. So that final learn more that was at the bottom is now up here. So let's go back over to settings, edit page. And if that's the one that I want to rename, I'm just going to go into settings right here next to it. And I'm going to click on edit settings right here, this link on the bottom left. This will be blank. If it's blank, that means it's either get more info or learn more. That's a default label that 22Social will put on any app until you give it a name. So that's not necessarily the name. You're not going to see the words get more info or learn more here. But if I want to name this register now, or free giveaway, or enter to win, depending on what your app is about, I'm going to put the name there. Ignore the image because images don't show up anymore for custom tabs. They used to, then they came back, and then they went away for a while, and they haven't really come back in about a year now, so I don't know that they're coming back, and they were a hassle anyway. So, but the fact that this ability to change the image is still here is an indication that maybe Facebook will bring them back, or they just forgot to remove this. Who knows? But don't worry about that. You just want to change the tab name. You have to hit save and OK. And then you need to hit save again over here. Now, it may not show up right away, but it will eventually. You can hit refresh and they'll show up. You can even move them, and then it usually will just show up. There it is. See if I moved it. But it's there. So just go back out to your page and you'll see it, even if it still says learn more there. It just takes a few minutes for Facebook to catch up. Now, when I scroll down here, it says enter to win. Now, naming the tab is not the same thing as your nickname for the app. So when I go to the actual app, and I don't know that I've given this one a nickname yet. This is just a template I created for a client, but in order to give it a nickname, and you're probably wondering, what's that if you haven't watched the other videos, over here under this little link icon will give you your app's information. Its ID number, which is 104494. It's also down here if you need to copy it for any reason, because you can't copy inside this header bar. I'm assuming that's why they put it here. I don't know, but that's usually where I'll go if I need to copy it really quick. The nickname, if you've given it one, and then so that will generate a smart link, which will be your username and then the app nickname. If you don't have a username, this right here will be your account ID number, which you can get your account ID number at the top of your dashboard here. So mine's 45927. If I hadn't gone in and creating a username account for my 22Social account, this would say 45927/104494, which is the app ID number. And that's what I refer to as the all numeric smart link. That number will always work. So if I give this a nickname and I call it contest, maybe I have several contests and I want to call this contest 1, the nickname now, or the smart vanity smart link, will be my username/contest1, so that I can easily remember this and share it with others. However, if I ever change this to something else like contest 2, or I go in and change my username on my account to something other than what it currently is, anywhere that I've shared the original vanity smart link will be broken and won't no longer work. So that is why I always say just use the all numeric. 22s.com/45927/104494 will always work no matter how many times I change these vanity usernames and nicknames. That's always going to be this app's number. The other smart choice is to share the permanent smart link. It's just a random generation of letters and numbers that will never change. The only downfall to that is that's not something you can easily remember or identify in a list. As you've probably know, if you've taken any of my courses, we generate a spreadsheet of all of our apps that can track and list them all, know what page they're on, their ID numbers and all of that. And so I have a whole running list of all of my apps identified by app ID number, so I know quickly how to find one. So if I'm ever checking, like, where's this button pointing to? If I see this, I have no clue what app that is. But if I see my account number /104494, I have a list I can reference that tells me what 104494 is. So long-winded explanation as to why I use all numeric numbers. So whenever someone asks me for example, let me look in here. Ivan was asking me for something, and so I said, yes, here's the app ID number. You know, he wanted the smart link. I gave him www.22s.com/account number/ID number. I didn't go in and grab this or the permanent. I use that no matter, whenever anyone wants a smart link, I always use the all numeric, because if he comes back 3 weeks from now and I've changed any of this, smart link or anything, and still needs to access this, that link will work no matter what. And I'm not sharing this anywhere, like on a business card or front end of a website or something. That's where you might want to use a vanity. But if that's not the case, I'm always going to use the all numeric. And so, for example, my website, like monicaramos.tv/live, in my hosting settings in my cPanel, I have that redirecting to an all numeric smart link. So even if I go into that actual 22Social app and change any of the like the nickname or something, my monicaramos.tv/live is still pointing to the all numeric, and it will never break. Okay, so that's kind of a long-winded end on that, but I'm going to hit save as, let's say I'm calling it contest 2, just for example here. Now that's the different than the label, okay? So when you want to find that in a list, what page is this? This is my MBE app templates page. I'm going to go to my apps. You can find this dashboard here on any of your apps. So it doesn't matter if I go to a different app over here, I still see the same dashboard, no matter what. So I'm going to go back to the other one. Any app, 22Social app that you are have installed and are an admin of, whenever you see this header here and it's your picture, name, and account number, then you'll be able to click on my apps and it'll bring you all of your apps. So this just pulls up all of your apps, which I have quite a bit. So I'm going to find that page, which should be towards the bottom since it's one of my newer pages. I think they get added in the order that I create them, sort of. MBE app templates. So here's my 4 apps. If I hadn't given that one a nickname, and let's say I had a whole bunch of them, let's see if I go down. Like this page has a couple that I haven't given a nickname to yet. I don't know what those are. I'd have to click on it and go, oh, okay, that's the welcome tab, and oh, okay, that's the lead magnet, and then I can name them. But this here, only you have access to this. So I like giving it a nickname because it helps me identify it in a list. That really comes into play when you want to delete it. So let me do really quick. I'm going to show you 3 things in this video: naming your app, how to duplicate an app, and then I'm going to show you how to delete an app. So I'm going to go back up to the top, because even though I'm seeing my apps, I'm still on this tab. So when I go up to the top, I'm still on the Enter to Win app, and I just close this app, close this out. What I'm hitting close is what I'm on. So if I'm on My Apps and I hit close, I'm just closing the My Apps tab of my admin dashboard. When I close that, I'm still back on this app. So if I go into, you know, my SRM and I want to see my SRM, which this one has nothing, when I hit close, I'm just back out onto the app. So that's what these do. They just take you to, you know, your different places and, you know, the help center, all of these things that are here, but you're still on this app. Once you close out this heading here, you're back out on the app, and that's how you get back. All right, so we've installed an app, we've named the tab label, we've given it a label here, and we have given it a nickname. So what I'm going to do now is, so actually I'm probably going to show you 6 things. I'm going to show you how to duplicate an app. So you want to click on this little duplicate button right here. It's a little icon. This page will show up in a separate tab, and it'll say, you know, waiting on Facebook to retrieve your pages. Mine takes a while because I have a lot of pages, so it's going through, you know, dozens and dozens of pages that I'm an admin of. If you're not an admin of that many pages, this part shouldn't take as long as it's taking on my account. Then you'll see this pop up here with all the pages that you're an admin of. So I'm just going to duplicate this one back on the same app that I'm on, which is the MBA app templates, or MBE app templates. I'm going to hit install app. What that's going to do is duplicate that app on the very same page that I'm already on, and it should just automatically redirect me. And so now I have an exact replica of that same app that I just duplicated. It's the same one. Um, the the one, let's see, what was it that I did? It was the Enter to Win, and it is just placed right at the bottom. So every time you install a new one, it gets added to the bottom, and it doesn't have a name yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here just so I can identify it. I'm going to go into Settings, Edit Page, go all the way to the bottom where it's at. It's Settings, Edit Settings, and we're going to call this, I'm going to call it the Enter to Win duplicate so that I know to delete it. So ETW dupe. That's just my Enter to Win duplicate. Save. OK. Save again. And then I'm going to go back out to the page and it should be there. And still at the bottom because I didn't drag it up or anything. I didn't rearrange its order. So there's my ETW dupe. OK. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I am going to give it a name, because if I go to my apps, I'm going to give it a nickname. If I go in my apps and go down to find that one, it's one of these two. I mean, I can take a guess and say it's probably this one, since this number is higher than that one. And so every time you add a new app, it gets a new number, and I'm assuming they're in chronological order. But if I had a bunch of these, it probably would be hard to guess which one it was, especially if I wasn't checking this list right after I, duplicated it. Let's say I went back to one of these, I wouldn't know, which one was which here, because that was several days ago. But I can't identify which one it is. Now I can click on each one of these. If I click on this orange button, it will open it in a new tab, and it'll take me to it, and then it'll show me which one it is. And then over on the left, I can see which tab I'm on, because it'll Facebook well, it would have if I hadn't clicked photos. Let me go back. I accidentally clicked on this. I just hit the back bar. See how this one's highlighted in a slightly different color? That tells me that that's the page I'm on. So then I'd be like, oh, okay, I can close this tab out and go, okay, I know what that one is. I know what this one is. So that's how you would find out. But if you just renamed them here, then you would know automatically. And I even still don't remember which one I just clicked, because if I did, I could probably just go here and rename it. So, for example, you know, we did the contest 2. Contest 2 dupe. Contest 2 was the nickname. It tells me right here. So I don't actually have to click on it over here and go to it and then, check out which one it is. Like this. I can do that from my apps list. So let's go back to this list here. So the reason I mention this is because the next step when I talk about deleting, because I created a duplicate, we'll see down here, this is a duplicate. So that's the one I want to delete. I want to make sure that I can identify it from a list. So you definitely want to rename it. Now I can rename it here if I know which one it is, or I can rename it before I get here. So I'm just going to call this contest, and usually what I do is say delete. I always write delete at the end so that I know that's the one I need to delete, because it's a duplicate or it's taking up space. So you hit save when you rename it, just like normal. It's not going to show up now. I think it needs to refresh. But if I go back out to the top and just close out the My App section, I'm back on the app, the ETW dupe. And now when I click on here, it should be there. Yeah, that's the contest delete. So you could do it from here, or you could do it from the My Apps list. So now I'm going to show you how to delete an app, because only reason I duplicated it is so that I could show you how to delete. So this Enter to Win and this ETW dupe are exactly the same. I would duplicate an app if I was creating like a template or shell, or I just wanted to import the branding and the colors and the font from, a client's app or one of my own apps without having to redo that part. And then I can go in and maybe apply a different layout, all those different things. I'm not going to want to change the template, because if I choose a new template, it's going to get rid of all of my fonts and colors and styling and buttons and all of the colors. So right now I've got a purple background, gray buttons, and two sets of fonts. This is my header font and my body font. I've established that as the branding for this client. So I can change a layout as often as I want, and all of that still stays. The fonts, the colors, the button color, and all of that, no matter what I do on the layout. But if I go in and choose a template, a completely different template, I'm going to lose all that. So since this is my dupe, I'm going to go ahead and do that. But let's say I like this. I want to do a product display. And I choose this. It's going to have a white background with orange buttons. Like, it's going to take all of this. It's going to completely replace it. So if you want to have something like this, all you need to do is change that layout. So let me hit close. And instead of changing my template, I'm going to go to layout. And then I'll just pick the layout that has that setup, which I believe is on page 3. So page 3, it's this one. It's going to have one, and then it's going to have 2 rows like this. So if I select this, and I hit OK, now I've got that same layout that I wanted. And then let's say I wanted to do some products down here, I could do that as well. I don't have to pick that template. So just keep that in mind. Layouts just changes the way it's laid out, but keeps all of your styling and branding and all of that. Choosing a template will completely wipe it out. So I'm not going to hit save changes on anything. I'm going to just go ahead, and now I want to delete this. So remember earlier when I said that you could go into settings and edit page, and you can turn some of these apps on and off. For the Facebook ones, like your posts, your reviews, your photos, some you can't turn off. I don't think you can turn off posts and photos. Reviews, shop, offers, and groups, you can. I believe events you can too, but certain ones like your posts, your photos, videos, your about section, you can't turn those off. I don't think they give you an option. So let's go to photos. Like, there's no little slide here that tells you, it just gives you like the app URL if you want to send people directly to photos. But basically it's just facebook.com/your username/photos/shop/groups/videos. That's what those are. But some of these you can turn on and off, like offers. I just say I want to turn it off and hit save, and it removes it completely from the list. You can't really do that with these. And then add them back. So if I go down to down here where it says, let me scoot up a little bit, where it says add a tab down here at the bottom, if I click on that, I can add offers back in because these are Facebook's tabs, native tabs to Facebook, and I can just say, let me add it back in. But if I delete one of these other ones here, the option to slide this little thing and toggle it from on to off is there, but I'm not going to be able to hit add a tab and bring it back. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now because that's the first step. There's 2 things you need to do when you want to completely delete an app from your page. If you don't want to delete it, you just want to remove it, like you don't want it to show up, then you can remove it from the page, and I'll show you how you can reinstall it, but you won't be able to work on it. So let me actually back up just a little bit. I'm going to hit cancel. This enter to win duplicate, I'm going to bring it up a little bit higher. I'm going to bring it up right here. When I go back out, it should be up closer to the top here. This enter to win dupe, if I don't want it to show here because I'm not ready to, I just don't want it on here, then you can remove it. But the thing is I can't work on it. So if somebody comes and clicks on this, they're going to see a message that says under construction because it's unpublished. Until I publish this, no one will ever see it. So I'm going to go back and just unpublish it again. So as long as it's unpublished, if anyone were to come to your page on desktop and click this, they're going to see a under construction message. So if you want to see what this would look like to the public when it's unpublished, you have to visit the page in an incognito browser. So I actually could just right click here. I want to open this in an incognito window. It's going to open up a new window for me. that's an incognito browser where I'm completely logged out of Facebook here. And then I can see what this looks like. See, that's what the public will see when they click on this. They'll see that on any of these because I don't think any of them are published. Yeah, coming soon, under construction. So they won't see anything, but they'll still see the tabs. But maybe you don't want them to see the tabs. If that's the case, you can remove it. Just know that if you remove it from the page, you can't come and edit it. There's no way to edit it unless it's installed on a page. So if you have it ready or you're not ready to work on it, you just want it removed from the page, you can do that. So the first step to doing that would be to go into Settings, Edit Page, find that one, ETW Dupe, Settings, and you can just turn it off. Okay, and I'm going to hit Save. Now, what that does is it removes it from the page completely. It's not here anymore, but it's not going to be down here where I hit on Add a Tab. I can't just add it back. You have to add it back from wherever third-party software you used it from. So if you're using other like Heyo or Woobox or what's the other one? Stack something, iStack. I don't even remember what they were because I've been using 22Social for so long, but there are other platforms that allow you to, add these apps. You'd have to go, or maybe through like your email program, if you have MailChimp and they let you install a tab that lets you get signups. You would have to go to MailChimp, you'd have to go to Heyu, you'd have to go to these other platforms, log into that account there, like your Woobox account or whatever, and delete it from there. Same with 22Social. You need to delete that from 22Social or reinstall it from 22Social. You can't just add it here because it's not a Facebook tab. So let's say you did want to just remove it from here, but you don't want to delete it completely because you just don't want it showing up on your page. Let's go back out to the front end of the page. ETW dupe is no longer listed. And if you want to bring it back though, then you need to go into your My Account, which you can get to by going to 22s.com/account, or just clicking on any of these other ones here. Because when you get to my 22s.account, it's just going to take you to your admin dashboard, which, like I said, you can get to from any app. Once you get to your admin dashboard, click on My Apps. It could be from any app. As long as you get to the My Apps section, find that app in your list. Again, I'm assuming your list probably isn't as long as mine, so it should be easy to find, maybe right towards the top. I'm going to go down to this one because I know it's towards the bottom here. And this one that I called Contest Delete, I know that's the one. If I ever want to bring it back to this page so it shows up again, all I need to do is click on Reinstall App. So that's how you get it back if you've removed it. You click Reinstall App, and the only difference that it's going to be the same app, but what's going to happen is it's going to be, if I remember correctly, and this could be wrong, let's go ahead and test it. It used to be that when you hit reinstall, it was added to the bottom, just like you were installing or duplicating a brand new app. Like when we first added it, it would be here at the bottom and it would say learn more or get more info. And I would just have to go back and rename it. It's still going to be 104496. So that link, if you're using it anywhere, isn't going to be broken, but you'll just have to go back and rename it. So let's go ahead and just test it because it's been a while. That's how it was last time. Maybe they changed that. So I clicked on reinstall app and I see this page, and then it's going to ask me to click here. This has to be done on desktop, so you cannot reinstall an app from the My Apps list onto a business page from your mobile device. So whenever you need to reinstall, you have to make sure. The other important thing to keep in mind is you cannot remove it from one page and then install it on another. It has to be reinstalled back on the same page where it was previously installed. So you can't really transfer from one app to another. You can duplicate. So I could have hit duplicate. Remember when I first duplicated the first enter to win, and then we called this the ETW dupe? I added it on the same page. I could have added it on any other page that I'm an admin of, and it would have been this exact app over there. That's really the only way you can quote unquote transfer an app from one page to another. But when you uninstall and reinstall, it has to be back to the same page. So I'm just going to click this here that says click to install, and it's going to put it back on the same page. I don't know why it prompts me for this because, I mean, I know why it does because it needs to know where you're going to put it, but it won't let you put it on another page. So it's going to have to go back. You're going to select the same page you took it off from, or it won't work. So once you select the page, make sure it's the same one you originally had it on, and click on Add Page tab. This is your Add Tab button that we didn't see under Edit Page, like we did with offers when we removed it and then added it back. You have to go through this process to add the tab. So you're not really deleting the app. We never deleted it. We just removed it from the page. Now we're adding it back to the page. Now, what I believe is you can just close this page out and then go back. So I'm going to just go back up to the top and close the My Apps because I'm still on this page. I'm looking at My Apps. I'm going to hit close. And let's see what happens. It should have been added to the bottom. Let me just refresh. So I'm refreshing the whole page. So I'm going to hit See More. And there it is. It got added to the bottom. So it does get rid of the label. Let's see if it got rid of the nickname. I don't know if the nickname changes, but the label that said ETW dupe, it's now Learn More. And then let me click on nickname. So the nickname's still there. So that's cool. It still stays there. We're just reinstalling it. But because we removed the tab from Facebook and now we're adding it back, the part on Facebook, because we do this stuff within the app, but naming the label is done on Facebook. So the part that gets removed and added back to Facebook gets reset. And again, it's going to be at the bottom. So all you need to do is then go back into settings, edit page. You know, now that it's at the bottom, settings, edit settings, ETW, dupe, save, okay, save, and then let's go back out and let's move it up. Let's move it up to right under Enter to Win, and then we'll put the duplicate right under it. And so that's how you would uninstall and reinstall an app. So if you accidentally removed one, go back into My Apps, click on any of your apps here, click on the My Apps button at the top, and then find that app and reinstall it back to the page if you need it back. Now, to completely delete an app, you want to do both things. You want to remove it like we just did, and then you want to go into My Apps and delete it. The reason you want to do both is because if we just do one or the other, so let me rename this 1. Oh, let's call it 2. Contest delete 2. And I'm going to duplicate this one. I'm going to put it on the same page. I can put it on any page. I'm just going to put it on the same page. And then this one, I'm going to name it Contest Delete 3, just so I can identify it in My Apps. And let's look over here. It's probably at the bottom as a Learn More. Yep, that's the one we're on right here. Is this Learn More? I'm going to go into Settings, Edit Page, and I'm doing this really so that I can identify them here. So that's 3. And we'll just call this, just so that they're all the same here, we'll call this 2. It matches their nicknames that I gave them. All right, I'm just going to move it up and down just to bring that number in. There we go. So we've got the Enter to Win, the original, the first, then we've got a duplicate 2, duplicate 3. All right, let's go back out to the page. Now, I am going to go down to these 3 have been labeled here, and they've also been given nicknames. This one is Contest. This is Contest Delete 2, Contest Delete 3. So one of them I'm only going to do one side or the other. So for this enter to win duplicate 2, I'm going to go into settings, edit page, and I am going to just turn it off. Hit save, and it's gone from the page. Duplicate 3, I'm not going to remove from the page, but I will delete the app. So let's go back out. So enter to win duplicate 2 is gone. Enter to win duplicate 3 is still here. All right, and so then we've got get more info, learn more, learn more. We'll just leave those as is. As a matter of fact, just because I want to be able to identify that one later, I'm going to just name those 3 at the bottom ABC for right now. That's going to be A. This one's going to be B. Another little trick to like not getting it to show up if you don't want it to, you can't leave it blank because it'll say learn more, but you can go in here and you can just make it like a dot. That's what some people do, like just a period, and hit save, and hit save again. Now if I go back out to my page, it'll say A, B, and then it'll just be a dot. Now, if others wasn't down here, it wouldn't be so obvious. Like if I moved others, or offers, I'm sorry, somewhere else, or just removed it, then, you know, it would sort of kind of be hidden. You know, you could still kind of see it, but that's something some people do to not draw attention to it, but they don't want to delete it from the page because they want to keep working on it. They want to keep, you know, working on it unpublished. So anyway, those 3 I'm going to leave there, and just to identify what they are, because what I'm going to do now is that duplicate 2, we remove the tab, but so it's gone from the page, but we did delete it in my apps. Enter to win duplicate 3, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to delete the app completely, but I'm not going to remove the tab. And I'm redoing this because I want to show you, you know, what happens in both cases. So click on any app to get to my apps, because all I want to do is pull up this dashboard at the top, and I want to click on my apps. Now under this MBE app templates page, you know, I have several apps installed. The duplicate 2 and the duplicate 3 are still here, and they're called contest delete 2 and contest delete 3. So I can reinstall this one back onto the page and it would be back. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take enter to win dupe 3 and I'm just going to delete it completely like this. Now, 22Social is going to give you a prompt that says, you have to scroll up. I have to scroll up because mine's so long, but at the top of the page, it says, like, are you sure? You have to be super sure that you want to delete it, because once you delete an app, you cannot bring it back. And to be absolutely sure that you want to do this, they're going to ask you to type in the word 22Social like that in the field before you click on delete this app. So 22Social, and then click delete. And then it's going to prompt me that it's been deleted. So, okay, now it's gone. It's going to refresh automatically for me. And what it's going to do is it's going to take me back out to 22Social's My Apps tab, because that app doesn't exist anymore. Normally what it would do, it would just refresh me back over to, you know, where I was. So I'm just going to hit the back button to go back out to this page. And I want to show you what this app looks like when you delete it from My Apps. Remember, this is number 3, but you don't delete it from the page. It's a little bit different than the other coming soon message that we saw. Let me bring that one back. Remember this one? This has coming soon, and then it's got this powered by 22Social, and when I click on that, it's tied to this account. So your account, whatever account you have, when someone clicks on that, it's your referral link. So if anyone clicks on that, they're sent to 22Social's page, you know, sales page or whatever, their page about 22Social, but it has your referral link in it, so that if they do purchase a 22Social account, you get credit as a referral. That's on all of your pages that are unpublished, let's say coming soon. This page is a little bit different. It has a big orange button that says upgrade your fan page. And if somebody were to click that, they're taken to 22Social, but it is not tied to you. The reason it's not tied to you is because this app does not exist. You already deleted it, but you did not delete the tab from the page. So that's the difference. So let me refresh the page. And it's not 22Social doesn't do it because, like, oh, that's messed up. Why don't I get credit? The system doesn't know who that app belongs to. You deleted it. So it's on you to come back to the page and go into settings and delete it, like we did with the number 2. The dupe 3 we never deleted. So basically there's a tab sitting here on a page, but it's not tied to anything. It's not tied to an account because this 3 was completely deleted from your account. Whereas 2, we deleted it from the page, but we didn't delete it from the account. You have to do both to completely delete it. And the reason I mention it, number 1 being this, you don't want to delete it from my apps, but not delete it from here, because then it's still sitting here, it's giving business away. So the next step you want to do is go in and then delete it from here. And actually I would do this first. I would delete the tab. I would come in here, go to settings, and just turn it off. Then hit save. It's gone from the page. Then I would go back out, I'd go to my apps, find that one, and then delete it. That's how I would recommend deleting an app. The reason is, an important reason for that is that these will count against your, so I've deleted both now, but remember 3 I deleted completely. At first I only deleted the app, but I didn't remove it from the page, and I showed you why that's not a good idea. 2, I did not delete from my account, so I can always bring that one back. But if we go into any of these, just so I can get back to my apps one more time, and I go down to my page that has those, contest delete 3 is gone. Contest delete 2 is still here, but neither of them are here. So this one I can still add back to the page. Now you get 15 of these per page. So if I went in and created a bunch of these, so for example, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. If we count the one way down here that has the little dot, I've got 4 apps on this page. I have a max of 15 that I could add. Now I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 apps tied to this page. One I just deleted from the page. I removed the tab, I turned it off, but I didn't come in here and delete it. So if you did that because you want to install it later, just know that even though I'm only showing 4 tabs over here, I actually have 5 tied to the page. And if I did that, 10 more times and had 15 total here, I would not be able to add any more. So sometimes when you're trying to add a tab to a page and you're like, I thought we got 15 and I only I only have 11, I counted 11. Again, these don't count. These are all Facebook ones. But anything that's a third party, you can add up to 15 third-party apps. And you're like, well, I only have 11. How come it's not showing up when you go to hit duplicate and that page drop down shows up? Like, let's see, for example, let me find a page that has a whole bunch. So I'm pretty maxed out on some of my pages. I'm almost there on my main page, but let's see, there's an old page here that I don't use anymore. Or live stream parties, I have a bunch on there. I'm maxed out at 15, I know, on live stream parties. So if I go back out to this app and just let me hit close, because I'm on this enter to win, and I want to duplicate it onto the live stream parties. They're in here alphabetical, so this should be right here under L. Live stream parties does not show up on my list. The reason it doesn't show up on a list for me to add it to is because I am maxed out on those. So if you're maxed out at your 15, you won't be able to add anymore. And that's the reason why. Regardless of whether that page showed all 15 visible, I've installed 15 apps on that page. If I remove the tab from my page under settings, edit page, but I don't delete it from my 22Social account, it's still going to count against my 15 app limit per page. If I delete it from my 22Social account, but I leave the tab open on my page, I don't go in and switch it to off, then my app's going to display that generic coming soon message that normally you would see on an unpublished app. But the orange button will send traffic to 22Social without giving me any credit. So there are pros and cons on each end, But just make sure that you do both, especially if you want to truly delete the app and you're not just wanting to remove it from the page so that you can add it later. If you really want to delete an app, then make sure you turn off the tab and remove it from the My App section of your account. So I know this was a lot. We talked about installing, duplicating, creating a nickname, the difference between the smart links and an all numeric versus a vanity versus the permanent smart link. We talked about removing tabs, adding tabs, uninstalling an app, and then reinstalling an app onto a page. And then the difference between completely removing an app or only removing it halfway, and the two different ends of it, what happens when you do one but not the other. And I did both sides of that. And then how to completely delete it would be to go in, settings, edit page, turn it off, then go to My Apps, find the app, and then click the little delete icon. Confirm your deletion by typing in 22Social before you hit delete this app and delete it. That's how you completely get rid of it. And then I also showed you how to reinstall one that you remove from the page. You go into settings here, turn off the tab, but it's still in your My Apps list. If you ever want to bring it back, it has to be back on the right page. It will get added to the bottom, and it'll be given the label you gave it will go away. So it'll either say learn more or get more info. You just have to go in and rename it, but everything else will stay the same after you reinstall it. So that was a lot in here, but that should hopefully answer a lot of questions when it comes to dealing with your tabs, how they show up, how they look, how to remove them, how to add them, name them, uninstall, reinstall, and all of that. OBSA members, if you have a question about this, definitely ask in the Facebook group. We can talk about it on an upcoming call. And if you're not an OBSA member and you have questions or would like to learn more, be sure to register for my next live Q&A. I do them once a month, and you can register at monicaramos.tv/live. And we usually go about 90 minutes. And any questions about 22Social, using Facebook, anything, using those programs, even if you don't use 22Social, but you have Facebook questions to monetize your online business, your online home business, are certainly welcome. And it's a great way to get help and advice from me for free once a month. So hope to see you there, and hope this was helpful. Take care.